there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
I'm Mario.
I'm Eddie.
I'm Steven. I'm Nick of Malison, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome the band Malison. Malison will release their new album entitled Death's Embrace September 3rd via Metal Assault Records. Also, check out their new single that's going to come out, Reborn, arrives June 11th. So we're going to be talking to the whole band about this. Guys, would you care to introduce yourself possibly, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. My name is Mario. I play guitar.
Nick, I play drums.
Steven, vocals and bass.
My name's Eddie. I play guitar.
How excited are you guys to possibly get back out on the road and to tour and do some local shows, because some things are opening up right now? How excited are you to get back out and get this album and songs out to the people?
Honestly, that's really all we've talked about for the last couple of months, ever since we signed with Metal Assault, and then we've been back in the rehearsal room for a couple weeks now. So we're just waiting. Honestly, we're just waiting for the first time that we can do a show out here. So definitely super excited.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we've always been waiting, itching to get back out there, especially with all the new material that we've been writing. I feel like we're really coming out, really strong with this new stuff that we got. We're just really itching to get it out there. So, things are starting to kind of slowly trickle open. So, we've been chomping at the bit just to get back out there.
Being with Metal Assault Records right now, is this a breath of fresh air for you guys? Is this kind of like all right, now this is a new chapter for us coming from Combat Records?
Yeah, I'd say it is. We worked with Andrew a few times before with, just kind of putting shows up in L.A. and stuff. And so we've already had like a relationship with him. And it's nice to kind of, with what he's building, and then we can be a part of it. We feel really good about what he can do for us, what we can do for him.
Did you guys find yourself doing anything differently other than working on music, such as like collecting or catching up on anything that you guys might have been slacking on possibly during the pandemic?
Me personally, I started writing a lot more, even not just traditional metal, but film score kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I got really into that, writing film scores and stuff like that, and reading a lot too. But just trying to keep busy, Yeah, I've kind of been trying to keep busy myself with all this. I've just been, trying to practice the songs, get them as good as they could be. But also, I've kind of been doing a little bit of other music on the side with a couple other bands, and, just providing drums for that and doing some other studio stuff. So I've just been trying to really just keep busy, keep the act sharp, so to say.
Guys, how does it feel to have an upcoming album in the Malison Music Library? How does it feel for you guys to have another album under your belt?
It's honestly, it's amazing. I mean, we have our first stable lineup for the first time in about 5, maybe 4 years. I mean, we did some tours right after the first album. We did a couple tours with some fill-in guitarists, which, they're great. They were friends, but this is the first time that we've ever had, or that we've had, a stable lineup in some time. So having that, and then the new record coming out this year, we're incredibly, proud of how far we've gotten.
Writing the new album, Death's Embrace, did it challenge you as a band because of COVID, bringing the album to life? Were these songs that had been previously written, or are these all brand new songs?
A little half and half. Our self-titled debut dropped on Combat Records in 2018. As soon as that dropped and we were planning, getting on the road for that, I had already, some song ideas, some stuff that I was working on putting together for the next record. And then around 2019, the guys, Steven and Mafi, got together, and we figured that it was time to start writing for another record. And then when COVID hit, the timing actually worked I mean, it worked to our favor because right when we decided that it was time to record and finish the writing for a new record, we booked our studio time, and then it seemed like the entire world shut down. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but it all worked out in a way. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it.
As a band, are you a little nervous releasing this album right now, since bands can't tour and all they can do really is do some live streaming and maybe do a couple local shows because everything's still kind of opening up slowly now?
Well, definitely. I know before we kind of originally wanted to have the release date a little bit earlier, but we chose to kind of push it back slightly just kind of for that reason. We want to be able to actually, do something with the record. I mean, it's one thing to have the record come out, I mean, it's great to have that be out and, have a music video and have, just the media floating out there and having people listen to it. But it's a whole nother thing when you can actually go out there and experience the music and actually, do the groundwork, the grunt work, go, show to show and like talk to people and network. So yeah, it's definitely, we definitely kept that in mind. So we're hoping, by that time in September, everything is going to be, clear and open. And that way we could have, the full effect of, this new record.
What's impressed or excited you guys the most about making this album, if anything? What sticks out the most for each of you, if anything, possibly?
I think what excited me was, having the experience of doing the first album together and then just kind of, learning from that and kind of saying, we can do this and we know, and with the touring and stuff that we've done, all the shows that we've played together, we kind of had a better feel of how, what we liked, how we wanted things to be done. And then to be able to get into that studio, we knew we were going to make something special.
I think for me, I think this second record really represents us sort of coming into our own as a band, as songwriters, and really looking for our own original sound. I mean, for a first record, any band's first record, I think you can look at it and really like sort of pin down what their influences are, where they're coming from. But the goal in this, the songwriting process of recording, it was about us making an album that's more like ourselves and an improvement of our songwriting and our technical abilities, and anywhere from like lyrics and just basically, I hope that, and I really do feel like we've improved a lot since our first debut. So I'm really proud of that. And that's what this album means to me.
And I think for me with that, it's really the big thing I did more was getting more involved with the songwriting. Just because I came in here, when I came into the band originally, some of the album was already kind of written for that debut album. But I did get to leave my mark on a couple of songs, but this one I really truly felt I was involved from, start to finish. I tried to get a little bit of guitar work involved with making riffs and bass lines and things. So I was able to dust that off my old chops on that and actually turn that into a couple good songs on the record that we're pretty proud of. So it was good being able to just evolve my songwriting, I guess, in that sort of sense, and be involved more ways than other than just being on drums, but also kind of getting involved on the string section also.
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, the whole process of making this album was pretty special because it's my first time actually making an actual album in the studio, because I joined this band kind of in the process of like the songs were already written, so it was my first time seeing from the ground up how an album's made, which is pretty special. And being a part of it and contributing solos, it's pretty awesome.
Any tracks standing out more to you guys than any right now on the album? I know it must change every time you listen to it, and I know you guys are probably sick of listening to them right now, where you've had these in the catalog for so long. But are there any tracks that stick out now? Because I know these are your babies.
For the new record, well, I mean, it's hard to choose just one. I mean, we've as a band, we had a chance. Like, obviously, we've been listening to the record a bunch of times now. I would pick one of my favorites is the second track on the album, Mutually Assured Destruction. For me, I mean, it was just a really fun song to write. Really, a little bit technical on guitar. It takes a little twists and turns here and there. I don't want to give away too much, but it really stylistically, it comes out of left field. But I think it really together, it's one of my favorite songs on the album. That's for me.
For me, I'd have to say one of the highlights to me would be Absent Earth, which is later on in the album. kind of a self-promotion because I did write a good chunk of that song on there, some of the riffs, and it started out just originally just me playing around on the bass, and I was just like, you know what, this could actually be a song. So it kind of just took full form from there, and it kind of shows off more like a heavier, like edgier kind of side to the band. I mean, like we said, we kind of like bring everyone's influences in, but I feel like I got to show a little bit of my death metal and thrash influences on that one. So I'm really excited that one came out really well. So I hope everyone's stoked on that one.
Yeah, I would have said that one because that one's a lot of fun to play. But Armada's a really fun song. It's the last one on the album, and I know we wanted to keep the same energy kind of flowing through the entire album, and to start it with Reborn and end with Armada. It just kind of gives it that feel that we're not done yet and we don't plan on going anywhere.
Yeah, I actually have to agree with Steven on that one. Armada, I think the listeners of this album, they're in for a really big surprise with that last song. It's just epic. It's one of my favorites.
All right, guys, was there a song that you were working on that totally ended up sounding different than intended to? Was there a song that took a major turn possibly from what it started out as?
That's a really good question. Was there a song that totally took a left turn? Yeah, Steven brought up a good point. I think Oblivion really, I think like the way I wrote that, it had this beginning and then and then Steven, now I'm remembering now. There was like this original intro for it that actually ended up being the outro, and yeah, the guys really help out with the riffs and the arrangement and all that stuff. So I think Oblivion, track 5 on that, and we placed that song where it goes just to sort of keep with the side A, side B, which is of course an archaic sort of, back when tapes were all the rage and stuff, you would switch over and it's like act 2 of like a play. So I feel like we've organized the track listing, and we did pay attention to the track listing in this record. But yeah, I think Oblivion's one of those where it actually did take a major turn in the songwriting, but we're proud of that one and all these songs equally so.
This album was recorded at San Diego-based Plotted Studios, and I hope I said that right. Who produced this album for you guys?
Yeah, Plotted Studios, our good friend Angel Ivan Vasquez, who did the first record. We recorded all the instruments with him this time, based in Chula Vista. So, I mean, he knows our sound. He's a great guy, good friend, and we've known him for a couple of years. We recorded all the tracks with him, and then we sent it out to our friend Tom Chandler in Los Angeles, who mixed and mastered it basically, to our specifications. So we couldn't be happier of how it turned out.
Working with him, though, during this recording process, did he get something out of each of you that maybe somebody else might not have gotten, possibly? Did he get that extra effort into these songs from you guys?
I'd say with me, definitely. He's very honest about, your takes and how you're doing, which is what I appreciate a lot, mostly in a drum scenario. The previous guy I worked with, too, he was also good at that, too, but knowing, Ivan, like, he's always been really good at kind of coaching me, because I've done other ventures with him, just done little tracks that I've provided drums for and other solo efforts. But he's really good at being able to coach me through things and just kind of giving me ideas on exactly what to add there. Because sometimes I'll be kind of stuck on a fill, thinking, I could maybe do this or maybe I should add that. But he usually comes in clutch with like, oh, we'll just try this, and I'll incorporate that, and it usually works. And so I really do trust him with doing the recording process with that. He's very honest, which is what I like.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, he's great. He's great working with him.
I want to ask this question before I forget again here. I want to step back here for just a few minutes here, guys. Are there any songs that didn't make this album that we could see down the line on an EP or another full length? Or are you guys just say, you know what, we're tired of the old songs, let's just move forward and do our own songs with the new guys?
That's another really, really good question. I would say that there are songs that didn't make this album, not because they're not good songs, but because in my opinion, I think the perfect album is about 8, 9 tracks, maybe 35, 40 minutes max. I feel like sometimes some bands, like, for the sake of, I don't know, making a longer album, or I feel like sometimes some bands just kind of like either like write or maybe squeeze in some like subpar material. There are like really good songs that I'm already working on that are going to be on the third album that I did not feel sort of the need to really rush or to have to really finish. The same thing with the first album. With the second one, I think that we keep improving ourselves. So once we have a good 8-track album, for me, that's good enough to put out. We're always working on riffs. We're always working on new material, and we're going to get together pretty soon and start figuring out what the third album is going to sound like. But
all right, guys, who did the artwork for the album? Because, I mean, it's simple, but it's good. It speaks for it right there. It's the angel standing there. So let's talk about who did the amazing artwork for this.
I think it's pronounced Erskine Design. So it's facebook.com/ERSKINE Designs. And he has all kinds of crazy, great artwork. And I've seen him do, actually a good buddy recommended him to us. And then, one day I saw him post his artwork, and I said, you know what? If he was willing to do, a little bit of touch-up and, a little bit of changes to this, then that would be a great album artwork. So we went ahead with that, and I mean, it's fantastic. And then we have, we have shirts on the album pre-order that are going to have the album cover, which I can't wait to get a hold of one of those. So, it was, I hope I'm saying that right, Erskine Designs.
Do you guys still see the band musically growing from the debut album with this new lineup? Do you see that itch, that fire still there, or more so with this lineup than previous?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when we started and it was Mario and I with the former members back in 2016 or so, we sounded completely different. And then, when those guys left and it was just Mario and I, we took it upon ourselves to kind of dig in deep, and we're still doing that. I mean, I know we have, kind of a lot of ideas, lyric wise and feel wise that we want to get out, and it couldn't fit on this album. So, we're going to, keep it going.
What do each of you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear while listening to any of Malison's music in general? What do you hope they get from it when they start to listen to this?
I just hope they have a killer experience that they remember, for years to come, hopefully. I mean, my biggest thing I've always wanted, is just kind of influence, almost try to be an influence to the next generation of metal, just like how, my influences were, like the Slayers, the Megadeths, the Metallicas, all that. I mean, that's the main goal. I mean, that's the long drawn goal I want, but I'm just hoping, this adds, hopefully to create that legacy that, people can, say that was a pretty damn good album. So I'm hoping people, just enjoy it.
I really hope people listen to Malison and they, and they get inspired and it makes their day better. We have a lot of uplifting lyrics and really I have a funny story. So we play metal, and then one of my good friends here in San Diego said, she saw us live and she's a very dark, death metal type person. She said, "Hey, your music's too happy." And I'm thinking, what? I mean, okay, we're a little too uplifting, and sometimes we'll play something that's very, I don't know. I just hope I hope I make someone's day better and maybe inspire them to pick up a guitar. That's kind of my goal is.
Yeah, my goal is like Mario's, to inspire specifically musicians and other guitar players to hear that and be like, oh my God, I got to learn that, or I got to pick up a guitar because of that, because that's what happened to me. I mean, I heard bands Megadeth and Slayer and all these bands, and that left an impression on me. So I think the end goal is just to leave a good impression for up and coming musicians, to be like, damn, we got to practice. We can write music like that too,
Yeah, if people are headbanging in their cars and then replaying the album, I know we did our job.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I know all of you had a lot of music growing up and you had a lot of albums at your fingertips, but was there one album for each of you, or maybe song that you had to have that you listened to maybe once every week or so, or 2 weeks, or you just found yourself being drawn back into that album that affected you as far as giving you inspiration, or just letting you guys escape for a while by listening to it, possibly? Did you have that maybe? If so, what was it?
I mean, there's a couple different albums I could think of, but I mean, if you want to talk about, one just end up coming back to almost every time, at least once or twice a year. I'd probably say Pete Sells by Megadeth, man. I mean, that's got to be one of my favorite ones. I mean, that whole, discography has plenty of, great ones. I mean, a lot of people like Rust in Peace. A lot of people, I mean, even the first album, Killing Is My Business, is great. But something about that second album, Pete Sells, just captures really, the sound at that time, which was really, almost like jazz metal to a degree, because, two of the, jazz fusion guys, Gar Samuelson and Chris Poland, and that really had a big influence in that sound. And it's kind of like a fusion of sounds on that, but it's still, it's still metal, very, very much so metal. But when you listen deeper, you could hear the influences, and there's just a lot of great musicianship on that album. So I find myself usually coming back to that one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Mafi took my number one choice as usual, but it's all good. That's why we're in the same band together. No, that's why that's why it works. So I'm a huge Megadeth, Iron Maiden fan. So I'll revert to my second Seventh Son of a Seventh Son by Maiden. Just the fact that they went with the synth and they really changed their sound, but not really. And it's just a great album. It starts off with Moonchild, and Evil That Men Do is one of my favorite Maiden songs. And just everything that Iron Maiden does is just perfect with the harmonies and guitar. I draw so much from that. So yeah, that's one of my favorite albums.
They took that album and they just said, fuck it, and went way outside that box. And they kept doing it, and they just kept getting better and better, which is just amazing. Yeah, that's a masterpiece of an album right there, in my opinion.
It really is. It really is.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
That's Mafia.
Yeah. For me, I mean, it's actually not really metal, but it's what made me want to become a musician and a guitar player. Kiss Alive. I mean, I wore out that vinyl just by listening to so much, because that just encapsulated the live sound, and it just left a really big mark. So I went back to that one. I still go back to that album constantly.
It's amazing how Kiss playing as a live band saved their career, other than a band in a recording studio. You know what I mean? Their live acts.
That was in a tank at one point.
Yeah. If they hadn't done live albums, there would have been no Kiss.
No, it'd be over. True.
I'd say Between the Buried and Me, Colors, which, I mean, they sound completely different from what we do, but that album just inspired me with their concepts and the things that they can do. The bassist on there, Dan Briggs, it's amazing what he can do. So, and that kind of drove me to want to be better. But yeah, I'd say that album.
All right, folks, you want to get out and pick up Malison's new album that's coming out entitled Death's Embrace, that comes out September 3rd via Metal Assault Records. They got a new single that's getting ready to drop here June 11th called Reborn. You want to definitely pick this up and support this band. Grab this new single and their album when it comes out. Guys, how can folks stay in touch with you? Buy some merchandise, tour dates, when it all gets back to normal, this new album, this new single, all this, or just to say hello. How can they do that?
Follow us on Facebook.com/MalisonBand. We're also on Instagram /Malison_official. And Bandcamp, Malison.bandcamp.com. Yes, we're on Spotify too. You can see some of our live performances from back in the day, or maybe a couple years ago. And if you, add us, and we'll add us on Facebook. I'll add you right back. Just look up Mario Lovio.
Yeah, if you want to talk, we'll talk.
Yeah, if you want to talk, we'll talk, dude. I'll talk to you.
Hey guys, before
dude, I'll live stream with you. I'll play guitar and stuff. I don't care.
Hey guys, before I let you go, would one of you or all of you care to introduce yourself and do a promo for my show?
Yeah, of course. Let's do it. I'm Mario.
I'm Eddie.
I'm Steven. I'm Nick of Malison, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour Podcast. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link, and you definitely want to subscribe to the YouTube link, because we got a lot of great stuff coming up for you guys and gals. And plus, I do in-depth interviews. Who wants to hear about what everybody had for breakfast or how many times they washed their clothes? So if you want in-depth interviews, stay tuned right here to BODS Mayhem Hour and subscribe. Also, please, folks, get out and pick up Malison's new album that's coming out entitled Death's Embrace, September 3rd via Metal Assault Records. And also check out their new single that's going to come out June 11th entitled Reborn. Again, give these guys a fair shot and you will not be disappointed. That's a hands down fact from me. So, guys, I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and you're welcome on here anytime that you want to promote anything you need.
Thanks, John. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.